So Children of the Whales episode 1 has finally arrived. Now this is one of the shows that Netflix did pick up the license to, so we have to rely on fan subs, unfortunately. But this was one of my most anticipated series because it just looked beautiful. From the description, it sounded like it would be an intriguing world, but once I saw the preview, I knew this was a world I wanted to get lost in for 12 weeks on end. And this episode blew me away. Easily my second favorite first episode of the season so far, just right behind Ancient Magus Bride. What I loved about this first episode is there's a lot of people trying to make similarities to multiple series, and one of the common ones, which is what I feel, is it feels very similar to the first episode of From the New World. And that's because we have this island, this whale island pretty much, where we have these humans, half of which are known as marked, or I think it's like 90% of the population are known as marked, which has the ability to essentially control their emotions and do some sort of magical things with it. But their lifespan is cut very, very short to the range of most of these marked people only live 20 to 30 years before they ultimately die. Whereas the other 10% are these like elders, these normal humans who aren't marked, who can't use this ability, but get to live a normal human lifespan. Right away, you get this sense of it feels very similar to how From the New World acted, where you have humans with some sort of magical presence to them. But it's not overemphasized, it doesn't feel like it's trying to be fantasy or anything like that, where it's just shooting fireballs, throwing lightning bolts, things like that. What it feels like is we have this very interesting society that is very different from our own, but at the same time has similarities, but it has this unknown eeriness to it. With From the New World, you knew the elders were kind of hiding something from the children, things like that, and you get a very similar idea within this first episode, when you essentially have this kind of scouting mission. We have our main character go off, and because there's this floating island that comes into contact with their own, and it will eventually blow away, so they ultimately go and investigate it, and they find this strange girl, Leokis. And essentially, she tries to kill the guy right away, but ultimately passes out from her injuries, things like that, and once they bring her on board, she starts asking questions that seemingly start to bring up questions like, maybe these elders, maybe these non-marked people, are hiding something from the remainder of the people here. And ultimately, this is 100% true, because she ultimately keeps asking them questions like, are you like a part of this Philena, or whatever, things like that. And I did look in Reddit, and someone posted the 3 words that were kind of common within this episode, and they all have, and they're all Greek words, which is pretty interesting, and ultimately, Philena means whale, and Leokis, her name, means wolf, which is very, very interesting, and ultimately, they're trying to hide this away, and it feels like whatever happened back in the day, that these elders, they probably left society to start their own thing. For whatever reason, they abandoned everything here, and it just feels like they're hiding something from their general public for good or bad reasons. We don't know if it's going to go as extreme as something like From the New World, but it's very interesting. It leads this world to seem very intriguing, and you want to see what's going to happen. And the episode ultimately ends off with a sort of prison break from some of the more uncultured people, you would say, but ultimately they're going back to the island because this guy just doesn't want to ultimately stay here and have lies thrown in his face. He wants to explore, and our main character is someone who wants to record history, so by the time he passes away, they will have history of everything that he's seen and done, and he ultimately wants to see what's going on with this girl Leokis. And I thought it was a brilliant first episode. It really got you aboard within the first few minutes to 5 minutes of the episode. You wanted to see more of this world. It seemed intriguing, it seemed unique, far different than most anime we see in a modern anime setting here. We're typically in schools or we're typically in a fantasy world, but this felt like we're in this like desert wasteland, but it felt so beautiful, and it all helped because of the gorgeous art design. The backgrounds are phenomenal. Like, it honestly feels like the backgrounds feel very similar to the way Grimgar did. It was an A1 Pictures anime that came out a couple years back. It was like a trapped in a fantasy world, but it was like they couldn't remember how they got there kind of a thing. But it had this very like watercolored palette that it used for its backgrounds, and it feels very similar with Children of the Whales. It's gorgeous to look at. You could probably snap a background from pretty much any frame of the show, where the character models feel very normal for anime, but it helps them pop away from the background, but at the same time they merge so well that it just looks gorgeous. Like, this is a simply stunning series, both visually, but also with its world building, and so far its characters. Like, of course, we haven't seen anything truly remarkable with any of the characters, but none of them feel just completely just like trope-based. It does feel like they're all kind of doing something at least. Obviously, it will depend on how the series goes forward if it's going to be amazing character development, but I think at the end of the day, as long as the characters are decent and the world building is strong, that's going to be enough for a series such as this. But I do have high hopes that this will be something good. I've heard some pretty good things about the source material, and so far with what I've seen with this first episode, it is completely stunning. This is an immersive world, and this is very interesting with this season, this fall 2017 anime season, is the worlds are remarkable so far, and I just can't wait to see what they're going to do with the remaining 11 episodes, and hopefully this will spawn multiple seasons, because I can already tell this is something that would do so damn well with multiple seasons, and being able to explore what's outside of this Whale Island, what ultimately has this world become, why are they hiding away, why are they hiding away secrets of who they truly are. And I'm going to be very interested to see what this girl is going to bring to the table, because she seemingly has no emotions as part of her people for whatever reason, and that's going to be interesting to see if she ultimately will gain emotions because she'll be with the main character, or what's ultimately going to happen. But I love this first episode. The world building was phenomenal. Within only one episode, I'm already just as interested in some of my favorite anime's worlds. Like, From the New World is one of my all-time favorite series if you see my top 25 anime list, and this already has me just as intrigued as the first episode is From the New World did, so I hope it can continue going forward. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think of the first episode of Children of the Whales? Are you like me, just so excited to see what this world is going to bring to the table? Let me know your thoughts, and before you leave, smack that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.